Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this second lecture by Dr. Nagaswamy in our Indian Knowledge Systems course at IIT Gandhinagar. It's a great honor to have Dr. Nagaswamy, who at his very respectable age of 91 is continuing to work in his fields of scholarship. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this second lecture by Dr. Nagaswamy in our Indian Knowledge Systems course at IIT Gandhinagar. It's a great honor to have Dr. Nagaswamy. Excuse me, there was a technical glitch. So Dr. Nagaswamy has been, since the 1950s, active in fields of archaeology, epigraphy, numismatics, texts of Sanskrit literature, Tamil literature, art history. He's a famous art historian, especially he's done a lot of important work on the Chola art and Chola bronzes in particular. So having him is a great pleasure, and personally for me, because I've been in contact with him for more than 20 years. Yesterday, Dr. Nagaswamy gave us a bird's eye view of the earliest Tamil literature, also known as Sangam literature, and its deep connections with Sanskrit motifs, Sanskrit methods, Sanskrit concepts, and devices. So today he is going to take more particularly the topic of the Tolkappiyam, which is one of the earliest Tamil texts, often described as Tamil grammar, but as he will explain to us, it is more than that. So Dr. Nagaswamy, with great pleasure, I invite you to take over, and we are listening to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all of you. I'm going to test your patience today. Yesterday we had a very light lecture, but today I would have to give a little more stronger presentation. But it will be mainly connected with Nāṭyaśāstra and Tamil grammar. From literature we move on to Tamil grammar and also Sanskrit. Well, this is this introduction. I am going to speak about Tolkappiyam and Nāṭyaśāstra. Tolkappiyam is Tamil grammar, ancient most Tamil grammar. But let us see this. The sentence is only a statement of fact. But kavya is suggestive communication with a joy. A few points about aesthetics of poetry is required to follow what I am going to speak about today. Kavya, that which is beautiful and gives pleasant joy, is called kavyam. Kavaniyam, kavyam, that which attracts. The statement of fact is a sentence, but suggestive, embellished communication is poetry. That's kavya. Kavya is divided into two as drishya kavya, that is visual poetry, which is dance, and shravya kavya, which is music, Gita. Dance is purely a suggestive art. So are sculptures, paintings, and so on. But music is also an evocative art. Both are based on rhythm, tala. Natyam tala layasritam. Natya is based on tala. Similarly, poetry is also based on rhythm. Poetry in ancient times was recited and heard until script came into existence. Tolgapiyam is the most ancient surviving Tamil grammar written by one Tolkapiyar who belonged to the family of Kapi Gotra. Kapya as a Gotra, ancient Gotra. He is said to have been a disciple of Agastya, sage Agastya. The way he composed this grammar is very well documented in ancient literature. He studied the classical unspoken language. Classical, that is Samskrita, unspoken language is Prakrita. So he studied classical unspoken language prevalent in Tamil-speaking area at that time. And also, he studied all the relevant early texts in detail. So he studied the earlier texts already available. He reflected duly on all aspects dealt with in them. And he classified the topics clearly. It is his methodology which is mentioned in ancient literature. He met one great teacher, Āsan, who was a Chaturvedin and the chief judge under the ruling king Pandya. And after consultation, he wrote this text named after himself as Tolkapiyam, drawing from a Vedic grammatical text called Aindiram. Tolkapiyam is divided into three major parts. Adhikarams, three adhikarams. One is called Elithu, means letter, Akshara. This is one division. The second one is Pada, that is soul in Tamil, words in English. So Elithu and soul. And the third is meaning, porul. That is Artha. So we have Akshara, Pada, and Artha in Sanskrit, which is rendered into Tamil as Elithu, soul, and meaning. The text is in sutra form, as prevalent at that time. As he mentions phonetics and written script, this text is post-Asokan in date. As all the Sangam Tamil poems follow his grammatical structure, he is at the head of Sangam work about 1st century BCE, 1st century CE. There are very clear indications that the script he is describing is Brahmi. I am going to deal with some aspects of the poetic compositions in the meaning part, not in the Elithu part, not in the Swal part. There's Akshara and Pada. I leave them out. I take the meaning and under the meaning section, Porul Adhikaram, there are many subheadings under each. So the first one is Aham division, Ahathinai, Sringara. This is further subdivided into secret love called Kalavu, chaste wedded love, Karpu, Kalpitam. So this is Aham tradition, is the first chapter. was first division. The second is Puram, external exploits, as we have seen yesterday. Then we have one section, one part called Meipadu. Mei is body, Pod is effect. Body is effect. So Meipadu is the bodily effect of looking at or listening to these compositions. Meipadu is actually rasa, that is aesthetics of appreciation. Then we have Shayyur, poetics. Then we have similes and other things like upama, deepakam, and so on. So this is mainly divided into aham, puram, meipadu, and poetics, alankara, and so on. Look at that. Among the adhikaram, the first one is aham, that is sringara. Natya is an art of suggestion, suggestive communication with appropriate music, rhythm, and evocative movements and gestures in a pleasant environment that sends a thrilling joy in the spectator. It is Natya, including Nataka, has two modes. One is called worldly mode of expression. Now, I don't use the word expression. It must be called suggestion. Worldly mode of suggestion, called Loka Dharmi in Sanskrit. Loka Dharmi. The other mode is Nātya Dharmi. That's the dance mode. So we have two modes, Loka Dharmi and Nātya Dharmi. Let us say we take a felicitation function on a stage. You can show it with purely by someone walking across and giving all the gadgets, garlands, and awards, etc. by walking. And this is what is just purely what we do in our worldly life. So this is called Loka Dharmi. But you can also present it without anybody on the stage. A dancing girl can enter with rhythmic steps, beautiful movement of her limbs, come there in the center where there will be nothing, but she can still create an imagery as if somebody is sitting down there and she is presenting it with some gestures, etc. And these gestures are all defined earlier. It looks like a suggestive form of felicitation only, felicitation function. That is called Nātya Dharmi. So just walking is Loka Dharmi with steps and rhythm and music, which is called Nātya Dharmi. These gestures are defined by experience and suggested scientifically is Nāṭyaśāstra. Combination of all this is Nāṭyaśāstra. Any poetic composition with these as main motives is oriented towards Nātya. First, Tollāpya takes up the composition of the poetry under different sections. First, he takes the space where the love theme is enacted. That's called Nilam, ground, space, environment, where the event takes place, the landscape. The landscape, the author divided into, land is divided into 4 or 5 divisions. One is hilly tract. The event takes place in a hilly tract. Or a forest. We may call it uplands. 3. Cultivated settled villages. 4. Township. That's a cultivated settled village. Coastal region. 4th. And desert region. 5. So we have hill, we have forest region, we have cultivated villages, we have coastal region, and desert region, the land where the event takes place. So this is the actual natural space where the event takes place. So what happened? The second, first we saw that Sringara Rasa as the first by dealing with Aham group of poem. And the second, the time, the love event is more pleasurable in the evening times, under the full moon, and so on. So the time, space is the first, time is the second. These two are natural elements, and where the love event takes place, and they form the background, the first background. So they are called mudal, first. So we may take this as the environmental nature where the event takes place. So the second one is customs of the people who occupy these lands. In the hillside, in the forest side, in the township side, in what we call a coastal area, the people who inhabit those places where this takes place. And the second, the gods they worship, the food habits, birds, animals, their preferred music and drums, amidst which whom the love event is described. In other words, the human environment is called karu, garbha. So the first is time and space. The second is human environment in which the event takes place. This is the second part. The third part is the type of emotion that results from this event. An emotion of joy, the pangs of separation, or anxious waiting, or love quarrel, or shocking separation, etc. This is called uri. Uri, that which you get out of these two, the first and the second. The first, land and space. The second is the people, and where the event is described. And third, the final is the realization of the joy out of this depiction is called Uri. So these are the three classifications under which Tulgapya described the Aham poem. Three basic divisions as nature, human environment, in which the poem of emotion is suggested. There's one more point in which Tulgapya sets his Aham theme. The author, Tulgapya, associates one type of emotion to one environment. For example, in Hilly region, he associates union, joy in union, which is something like what we call Sambhoga Singara, Hilly region. Upland, waiting for the lover to return. the girl is waiting for has gone to America for earning or higher studies, and she is ready to wait for her return, for his return. And that's the second one, waiting for the lover. Third, settled land, that is in the township or villages. Love quarrel. You are aware of love quarrels. And that is woodal. It is called woodal in Tamil. The fourth one, the coastal region, whaling. And the fifth one is separation. So, whenever there is a mention of Hilly region, that suggests that the poem is containing a joy in union, Sringara. If an upland, a grazing ground, it's called grazing ground, where shepherds are there in forest region, that suggests that the emotion that is going to be described or realized is waiting for the lover to return. Similarly, in a settled place like a township, it is the love quarrel that is depicted. That is the emotion, woodal. Coastal region, suffering, wailing, and desert region, complete separation. So these are all just conventional places that are mentioned. And when they mention the place, they mention the people, they mention the bird, they mention the tune, they mention the food habit and so on. These are conventions to suggest emotions in poetry. Having described all these in detail, Tolyapya says in the final sutra of Aham, that is the Sringara part, these poetic suggestions are meant what he has described for. He gives these two words. Tolyapya mentioned these two words, Nādaga Vairakku and Ulagiyal Vairakku. Nataka Vairakku is exact Tamil translation of Nātya Dharmi. Ulagiyal Vairakku is worldly dharma, that is Loka Dharmi. So when Tolyapya speaks of in the very first section of Nataka Vairakku and Ulagiyal Vairakku, that is Nātya Dharmi and Loka Dharmi, it is very clear he is addressing the thing connected with Natya, art of Natya. These are very, very clear indications that Tolyapya is dealing with dance. These divisions of different landscape are not the creation of Tolyapya. They are already defined in Nāṭyaśāstra in a chapter called Kaksha Vibhaga, in which the stage is suggestively divided. The animals, birds, etc. are also suggested by gestures to show the region. In ancient times, these were all practiced. Even now in Kerala, some people can show this, they show this. When they first appear on the stage, they are artificially divided into 4 parts. One part, he will go and show as if it is a hill trees, hill animals like elephant and so on, all suggestion in one quarter. The second quarter, he will show forest and all forest animals, forest food, forest birds, and so on. The third one will come on to the next slide. Third one is the cultivated land. He will show what happens in the cultivated land so that he suggests that is the cultivated land. And the fourth one is the coastal area, and the fifth one where they overlap on the boundaries. Now, all these are done only in pure suggestion. So what we see is when he wants to enact an event happening in Hill, he will go to that quarter and enact it. And if you want to enact one in the settled land, town, and so on, he will go to the third quarter where he has already suggested and everything will take place there. So it is an artificial division of the state in which all these events are shown by pure suggestive mode of movement and gesture. That is mentioned in Nāṭyaśāstra as kaksha vibhaga. This is a separate chapter, long chapter. The animals, birds are all suggested to show the reason. Also, the Nāṭyaśāstra shows the impact of time on the event. It mentions. Tulhapya speaks about the land and space and time. Nāṭyaśāstra speaks about the same thing earlier, about the space and time. So clearly, Tulhapya follows Nāṭyaśāstra. I have spoken about aham theme. Aham themes are Sringara. What about Puram? Puram deals with exploits, victory, capture of forts, capture of cows, and performance of Vedic sacrifices, and so on. All these are all described in Dharma, Artha, and Moksha are described in Puram. What about the Maraldo, where they also meant for dawn? Yes, undoubtedly. Under Puram classification, Tulgapur himself mentions all categories of Puram poems were meant for 21 forms of kutus. Kutu means dawn in Tamil. So he gives the names of all the 21 forms of kutu. In Tamil tradition, we have two types of dances mentioned. One is called Ahakutu and the other one is called Purakutu. Two divisions. Ahakutu is Sringara, Purakutu is the Kutu of the royal court, Vinoda, and so on. So the division of poetry, the division of dance into Aham and Puram, they are clearly to indicate what you call Sringara Bhava on the one side and other or the worldly Bhava on the other side. So all these are shown by the roving singers called Banas and also called Viralis. The consorts of the Banas, the singers, are called Viralis. They are dancers. And almost every poem in Sangam literature, you will see the presence of Bana and Virali going from village to village, the king to king, and describing their fame, etc. And the kings presenting them with gold chains and so on. You find in almost every Sangam poem. That indicates that these are all meant to be sung and danced in the presence of the king and chieftains and others. Then we have another important chapter. We saw Aham, we saw Puram. These are all meant for dance. And we have one chapter called May Padu. May means body. Padu is the reaction. As you sit down and watch all these things, the response you have in your own mind, heart of hearts, the thrilling experience. That is what we call in Sanskrit tradition as rasa, rasa swadana. So the chapter on Maipadu in Tolgapyam is very important for our study. In brief, Maipadu means realization of rasa. Now here, Nāṭyaśāstra or Bharata described 8 rasas. Ashtau Natye Rasa Smritaha. Natye Rasaha Ashtau Smritaha. 8. What are they? Sringara, Hasya, Karuna, Raudra, Veera, Bhayanaka, Bibhatsa, and Adbhuta. These are the 8 rasas which are called Natya rasas in Bharata's Nāṭyaśāstra. And Tolkapyam, under Maipadu, gives exactly 8 rasas. And exact Tamil rendering of these words, Sanskrit words, Sringara, as inbam, standing for erotic delight. Hasya is Nahai itself, laughter. Karuna, it is called Aluhai, compassion. Raudra, Vehuli, fury. And Veera, Perimidam, heroism. Bhayanaka, Acham, fear. Bibhatsa, irreverent, disgust. And Adbhuta is Mandu. So we have 8 rasas described in Bharata's Nāṭyaśāstra. The same 8 rasas are described in Tolkapyam. Bharata does not mention or include Shanta as a rasa. He doesn't accept Shanta as a Natya rasa because Natya is essentially movement of bodily limbs and bhavas. In Shanta, nothing is possible when you have just stand like a post. So, Shanta similarly, Tolkapyam also does not include Shanta as a rasa. It shows clearly that the rasa theory, which was developed by Nāṭyaśāstra, in Nāṭyaśāstra, was taken by Tolkapyam in his grammatical work. Right. But later on we have Shantopi Navamo Rasaha. Later on, due to passage of time, Shanta has been included in 9th rasa. But even then, they can be included in the poetic or musical region, but not in dance. So, then, very important, we saw Maipadu exactly the same as in Bharata's Nāṭyaśāstra in Tolkapyam. Tolkapyam also divides, Nāṭyaśāstra divides rasa theory, rasa aswadana, into 4 parts: Vibhava, Anubhava, Sattvika bhava, and Vyabhichari bhava. That is, each rasa realization is obtained through these 4 groups. Vibhavaihi, Anubhavaihi, Satvikaihi, Vyabhicharihi, Aniyamana Svaditam. They bring in the realization of the aesthetic joy. Vibhava, Anubhava, Sattvika bhava, and Vyabhichari bhava. Tolkapyam also divides them into 4, these rasas. So, I have given all these, for there is no need to go through all these lists, but exactly the same. The Nāṭyaśāstra deals with 4 vrittis. These are vrittis are the modes of experience. One is called Arabhati, second is called Bharati, third is called Satvati, and the fourth is called Kaisiki. Now these 4 are discussed in detail at the very beginning in Nāṭyaśāstra. Arabhati, Bharati, Satvati, and Kaisiki. Now I am going to talk to you about Silapadikaram now for a few minutes. Number 1. The famous commentator on Silapadikaram named Adiyarku Nallar in 13th century states that Silapadikaram is a Nataka Kapyam. It is a dramatic composition, a composition meant to be enacted on the stage, like Sakuntalam or Kiratarjuniyam in Sanskrit. So, Silapadikaram is a Nataka Kavyam. What a wonderful kavya it is. Marvelous. Wonderful in Tamil. And this was composed by no less a person than the younger prince of the Chera ruler, Ilango Adigar. Adiyarku Nallar in Tamil says there were 2 important works earlier than the Silapadikaram, and he gives the names as Agasthyam and Bharatam. Both of them were in Tamil. Obviously, before the composition of Silapadikaram in Tamil, there were 2 Tamil compositions, grammatical work called Agasthyam and Bharatam. And both of them disappeared before the composition of Tolgapiyar. So, Silapadikaram is completely based on Tolgapiyam. That's what Adiyarku Nallar says in his commentary. Silapadikaram was composed by Ilango. It's a marvel. Unfortunately, it is in Tamil. It's not looked at it from that point of view of dance or drama, but mostly as literary composition. And people fight about it, whether this is a historical one or an historical one. It's a pure and simple dramatic composition by Ilango. And wonderful expression. The way in which the whole thing is arranged, suggested, music and rhythm and dance are all interpolated at important places. It's a marvelous composition. This Silapadikaram has a complete chapter on dance, Arangetram, of a dancing girl, Madhavi. So it is nothing but a full-scale chapter on Nāṭyaśāstra mentioned as Nātya Nannur in the text itself. So there is no doubt that it is a Nataka Kavya. Remember, Natya and Nataka were all same, almost used as synonyms in ancient times. Also music. Gita, Vadya, and Nritya, Gita, Vadya. Nritya also indicates Nritya and Natya. So, Sangeeta in ancient times represented both music and dance, nritta, pure dance, and nritya, evocative dance, and also Nataka. Nāṭyaśāstra at the beginning begins with Sringara compositions and vigorous compositions later. They are the Sukumara and Avidya. We know Chalapadikaram starts with Sukumara composition, the marriage of Kannaki. It speaks of Ranga Puja. Nāṭyaśāstra speaks of Ranga Puja at the beginning, how to do the puja, invoke the deities for the success of the enactment. So Nāṭyaśāstra speaks of Ranga Puja at the beginning. So also Chilapadikaram describes Ranga Puja at the beginning, the entry of the dance first. Nāṭyaśāstra at the beginning describes Indra Viha, the festival of Indra, in detail. There's a beautiful chapter on Indra Viha, Nāṭyaśāstra. And Chilapadikaram has a chapter on Indra festival at the beginning. Exactly the same. At the beginning you have Indra Viha in Nāṭyaśāstra, at the beginning you have in Chilapadikaram, this Indra Viha. Nāṭyaśāstra has the fivefold divisions of landscape which we have just seen. Hilly region, forest region, cultivable region, coastal region, and desert region. Chilapadikaram is spread on fivefold land divisions. If you take the whole of Chilapadikaram, it keeps on placing one after the other in a progressive way. All the fivefold divisions are covered, and that shows that it has fallen back on the concept of Nāṭyaśāstra. Then again, the author of Chilapadikaram says that he has used Bharati Vritti. The author himself mentions that I have used Bharati Vritti for the first canto of the text, and Arabati and Satvati Vrittis for the second canto. And the third canto deals with Puran, the Puran tradition. What happened? All end up that Sangam poem, Tolkappiyam, Nāṭyaśāstra, and Chilapadikaram, all early group of Tamil expressions, Tamil suggestive mode, with 2,500 and more poems, and one of the most beautiful composition in dance tradition, Chilapadikaram, Natya Kavya. What a great contribution this area, small area, has given to the world of knowledge and aesthetics. In order to understand that it has its own contribution, we need to know all this. And I am glad that I have been given a chance to represent this to you. Good. There we end up.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nagaswamy. This was not much longer than yesterday. It was still brief, concise, but full of meaning and full of important parallels that will need to be explored. I would like to mention to everyone here that you, as I said, you have written many books. I don't know whether these will be visible. Just a second. This one, for example, is Mirror of Tamil and Sanskrit, recent book. And even after this, there is Tamil Nadu, Land of the Vedas. And in these books, and a few more, of course, we can find a lot more deeper developments on the leads that you have given yesterday and today. So we are very, yes?
Then, I would suggest there is a publication by Bharati Vidya Bhavan of Delhi.
Yes.
It's quite expensive, and there I have discussed about this, but this is further than what, that was about 2 or 3 years back, I heard. But now what I say is it is for special to IIT Gandhinagar.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I believe we have a few questions which we can take up.
Yes.
And I'll request our teaching assistant Shruti to please read them out. Dr. Nagaswamy, can you click stop sharing on your screen? Stop sharing, if you can please click so that we can see you better.
Yeah.
It will be at the bottom of the slide. There is a blue button, stop sharing.
Yes.
Can you click it?
No,
at the bottom of your screen, you will see, you should see, there is a blue button.
No.
Stop sharing, if you can locate it. If you cannot, let us continue. It's all right.
Sir, may I just remove?
Yes, if you can. If you can you, Ankita, can you stop the presentation at your end? If so,
Yes,
please.
sir. Yes, sir.
Don't worry, Dr. Nagaswamy, don't worry. We are doing it. Sorry for this interruption.
1 minute, sir.
So we shall wait for Dr. Nagaswamy's return. I would like to have... Hello?
Sir, I have removed the...
Yes, we can see.
Hello? Hello?
Dr. Nagaswamy?
Hello? Yes?
Dr. Nagaswamy? This is fine now. It is fine now. It is fine. Please don't worry.
I see. Okay.
It is fine now. We can see you. Let us proceed, Dr. Nagaswamy. We have a few questions, and we would like to take them up now. And I'm requesting Shruti to read out the questions, Dr. Nagaswamy. Please listen to the questions. Shruti?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll start asking the questions now. So there is a question. There is a YouTube question from Lakshmi Ramaswamy, and this is, I think, with respect to when you said that Tolkappiyar studied the Prakrit and the Sanskrit of the region before he wrote his text. So she asks, why would somebody read the Sanskrit language to write grammar for Tamil? I think it's a clarification that she's asking for.
I didn't get it generally. See, what is Sanskrit and what is Prakrit? The Prakrit is spoken, a little bit refined, structured word and structured sentences or the Sanskrit word. Sanskrit itself is what you call a descendant of the Vedic language. The Vedic language is structured and brought down to the level of common man is Sanskrit. Almost both are identical, except that the Prakrit goes on changing from space to space and time to time. But Sanskrit will never, because it is structured. The prefixes and suffixes and all are fixed. So in the field of science and what we call philosophy and all other worldly, like law, enforcement of law, or architecture and so on, Sanskrit was preferred. And then as time went on, Prakrit also became Sanskrit. Like Sanskrit, there is a literary Prakrit. Literary Prakrit is Marathi, Maharashtrian language became literary Prakrit and so on. So, if you know, now there is a move in the world to study Gandharan Prakrit, a special change in the mode of expression in Bactria, in Central Asia, and also in Indo-Greek area, and right up to Iran, where we have coins issued by the ruling kings in the 3rd century BC. And there they have used Prakrit, written in Kharoshthi script, but the language is Prakrit. You can't say it is Prakrit. As he says, Maharaja-di-Rajasa, Raja-Rajasa, Raja-di-Rajasa. So it is neither Sanskrit nor Prakrit, both in between. So there is a specific development in the region. And that's all what we know about Prakrit. Prakrit gradually became literary Prakrit, but we still preferred the Sanskrit under that scientific usages. That's all what I know something about Prakrit and Sanskrit. But Sanskrit technical terms, as in Bharata's Nāṭyaśāstra and so on, they were employed all over. Though Nāṭyaśāstra itself says, use regional language where you are going to enact to the regional audience. So Desha Bhasha, bracket becomes also Desha Bhasha. And what else I know? I know nothing else.
Thank you so much, sir. We have another question from one of our own students, Akanksha. She's asking, are there any differences in the work that has been done in Sanskrit and as opposed to in Sangam literature? So what are elements that are unique to Sangam literature that we can't find in Sanskrit literature? Are there any such?
I don't think so. Tamil is a very old dialect, and that has come into contact with the Sanskrit and has imbibed. But unless one understands Tamil, it's difficult to say where you can understand it if you know only Sanskrit. But Tamil is a lovely language. Anybody can learn it it's one of the Prakrit language. So many of the words are all Prakrit words are there. You can learn it. But there is no way how you can go into the details unless you learn that language. Sanskrit, of course, even simple Sanskrit. We all go in for highly developed Upanishads and what you call Kalidasa and Bharavi and all that. That's all not required. Simple Sanskrit is sufficient enough to understand Nāṭyaśāstra. One thing great about Nāṭyaśāstra is that all other scientific texts were all restricted to different fields. But this alone, Nāṭyaśāstra alone, has reached the last man in the social strata and the last man in every area of the country, not only in India, but also in Southeast Asia. It has reached the last person because he can witness the dance, he can witness the drama, he can understand the episodes, Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. enacted. It has served and it continues to serve to bring this whole area of, I would say, Asia into one unit. And everyone has benefited from Nāṭyaśāstra. And there is, unfortunately, no understanding of this particular problem. There is no institution which teaches Nāṭyaśāstra from beginning to end. One has to know them from beginning to end Nāṭyaśāstra. Composition of letters, composition of words, composition of baddha and anibaddha, that is structured poetry, and poetry that is suited to tala pramana, and so on. And also costume design, the stage design, the alliterations that are used, and the way in which the words are used for expressing delicate love themes and harsh fighting and Veera and Krodha system and so on. So we need to know, we need to study, and these are beautifully presented by Bharata from beginning to very end. So as earlier the first, second century BC, they have understood that this is one of the best work that they can take it to the people to make them happy, to have them realize the beauty of the poetry, learn the poetry of the dance, drama, music, and other aspects. Is there any institution known to you where Bharata's Nāṭyaśāstra is studied from beginning to end as a special subject? I don't think so. It is very important. Start one in IIT.
Thank you so much, sir. We have another question from one of our own students, Pratyush. She's asking that do we see Sangam literature, and especially the Tolkapian, as a purely aesthetic text? Because the Nāṭyaśāstra gives us a lot of insight into some other technical and philosophical aspects. So do we expect something similar from Sangam literature, or is it purely for the description of emotions and pleasure?
You see, there are certain texts in Sanskrit portion which are beautifully written, beautifully expressed, and they also represent the development of the ideas and thoughts through the centuries. Like Ānandavardhana, one of the greatest poets in Kashmir, has written what is called Dharmya Loka. It is a Sanskrit work. He defined what is art, what is kavyasya atma, what is the soul of poetry. Poetry means the suggestive expression. What is the soul of poetry? Kavyasya atma dhanihi, he says. It is the suggestive mode that is the soul of poetry, soul of kavya. So kavyasya atma dhanihi. And then he defines, it is one of the finest texts. And what is more important is there is a commentary by a masterly commentator, Abhinavagupta. And he gives the definition and of all these words, technical terms, in very simple terms. And also they developed a system for nearly 1,000 years from the beginning of Nāṭyaśāstra to Loka. Ānandavardhana lived about 9th century, end of 9th century and beginning of 10th century. And Ānandavardhana is an Abhinavagupta also lived in that period, almost a contemporary. And what a system we have. You see, the question is, many people ask me this question, whether art is individual, personal, artist-oriented, or spectator, intended for spectator. What is the main object of this art? There they will tell you it is oriented towards the spectator. Artist should only suggest, only show that as if it is happening. He should not do it actually on the stage. We had a very interesting episode in Delhi. Some dancing girl and a fellow from America. He came, he said, he just kissed her on the stage, and all of them took a exception to it. It is not the custom in India to do that. So it is not, an artist should only suggest, he should not do it on the, if you start doing Sringara Bhava on the stage, people will throw you stones. So it has to be done separate. It is only suggestive mode of expression that the spectator feels in his heart of hearts a joy. That is there in Sanskrit literature. Some 2 or 3 texts are there. If you could read it, it can be applied to paintings. It can be applied to what you call sculptures. It can be applied to poetry. It can be monumental temples, monumental structures, the moving lines. What is a moving line? What is a disturbing element in the moving line, etc. All these things are all described in these texts. But we need this as a very important scientific field to understand and enjoy it, and tell other people also how to enjoy. So let us have a good opening somewhere. Maybe Gujarat can start it.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question. Could you elaborate on the differences between Sangam era Tamil grammar and the grammar of Tolkappiyam? Is there a difference, or is Sangam literature based entirely on Tolkappiyam grammar?
No, so long as Sangam poems are concerned, we have specific evidence to show that they were dependent on Tolkappiyam, the grammar. But the grammar went on increasing because many Jains and Buddhists and other people have come into Tamil Nadu. The language has grown, and so it needed adjustment. All these later adjustments of grammatical structures have come into use. There are many other grammatical texts. They keep on through the centuries changing. So it is necessary to keep chronology in mind and read these one after the other, the earliest, the middle, and the later. For example, you have nearly 20,000 poems of devotion in Tevaram and Divya Prabandham poem in Tamil by the saints, Saiva saints and Vaishnava saints. They were all sung and danced in the temple during the festival, during the Nitya Pujas, Naimittika Pujas in the Samina. And they depict the Puranas, the epics, and other things that are developed during the centuries. And they were all composed between 7th century to 9th century. What an amount of compositions! What movement! The language becomes simpler, more suggestive and more suggestive. And these dancing girls who were there in the temple, they did enormous work, enormous help in sustaining this delicate art till the colonial fellows came and threw big bad on it and it stopped. Otherwise, the growth has also changed the grammar, and the grammar has changed the poem. There is an interaction between dance and music and poetry. And this has not been properly studied. And nobody can tell you now because we have already cancelled all ancient Sangam tradition. We have cancelled the what you call the devotional plan, and now we are in what we call rational system, rational knowledge, which has nothing to do with ration.
Thank you, sir. We'll take up one last question from Lakshmi Ramasamy. It's from YouTube. So she's suggesting that inbam that you have given in the comparison chart is not there in the Tolkappiyam, and the name mentioned by Tolkappiyar is Uvagai. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. It's Uvagai and not inbam. So how would you respond to that particular idea?
Inbam is not that. Somebody asked me yesterday whether the word Arya is there or not. Please see that and then see that. Now, take for example, Arya appears in Sangam literature 10 times. The word Aryan. Similarly, when you say Sangam Inbathu Paal, Thiruvalluvar has got Thirukural, Arathu Paal, Porutpaal, Inbathu Paal. So Inbam is there. Inbam is Sringara Bhava, even in what you call Thirukural. It is there. It is there in the time of the Sangam period. So Sangam is not only the Ahampuram, but there are 18 groups of smaller texts, some of which like the Thirukural, they all belong to Sangam period. Undoubtedly, Thirukural is mentioned in Chelapadigaram. Chelapadigaram, was composed in the time of Charan Senguttuvan and Charan Senguttuvan's brother. This is 1st, 2nd century AD. So it is already there. So we must read and see, then come to conclusions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, I think this was the last question that we are taking today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nagaswamy. I think it is time to, there would be so many questions, and maybe we will try to send some of them over email to you. But I think we have taken a lot of your time, and it was a very important exploration of the foundations of Tamil literature through Tolkappiyam and indirectly through Nāṭyaśāstra. So thank you so much, Dr. Nagaswamy, again for taking this time and energy from you. We are deeply honored, and once again, thank you for your presence.
I thank you for giving me this opportunity to meet these intelligent young friends, and I hope they will continue the study with great people, learn more about. Thank you, Danino.
Thank you, Dr. Nagaswamy. So you can please feel free to leave the meeting now. Thank you.
Thank you.